Every season of Survivor is a story. There are main characters, sidekicks, comic reliefs, and villains. A good season of Survivor tells a compelling story that has you rooting for someone and against someone else. You will want to watch episode after episode to see what happens next until it all finishes with a hopefully satisfying conclusion. Each story that we look at together will go through one character's journey from beginning to end, from the time that they are introduced until they inevitably get their torch snuffed or win the game. We will look at every character moment and strategic move to determine whether they were a hero or a villain, and whether they were a good or bad strategist. And with that, welcome to Once Upon an Island. Now, for reference, we will only be observing what the TV show is showing us and what story is being told through the show. No future seasons will be mentioned, as the story and characters here have no idea about what happens in those future seasons. All character moments and strategic moves are interpreted with the mindset of what the story is trying to tell us. And do you want to pick what videos I make? Then consider joining the Once Upon an Island Patreon. The patrons pick every month what videos I make, like this one, and get to watch everything up to 6 months before it ever releases on YouTube. So consider joining them for all those benefits. Thank you for your support.
Who will have what it takes to outwit, outplay, and outlast all the rest? This is Survivor 42.
Maryanne, a 23-year-old seminary student, was a castaway on Survivor's 42nd season, Survivor 42. No one on this season has seen Survivor 41, and Jeff tells us right from the beginning this season is almost a carbon copy of Survivor 41 in terms of twists and format. So how does Maryanne navigate these unknown waters while also dealing with the perception of being so young in a game that hasn't seen a winner who is under 24 since season 23, aka a season that aired 11 years prior? Let's find out. If you aren't familiar with season 41, that is okay. I will tell you about these twists as we go, but if you are already familiar, then expect a lot of deja vu. Maryanne is on the Orange Taku tribe with Jackson, Mariah, Omer, Lindsay, and Jonathan. The first time she gets to speak to us is when she says Survivor is a lot like a roller coaster.
Right now, it feels like a roller coaster. The strap is on, the people have done their final check, and the roller coaster just went like, and it's now just starting to move. My hands are gonna be raised, and I'm gonna be screaming with everyone on this, whatever ride this is.
Maryanne is a ball of energy, lover or hater. Survivor also is currently in an era of constantly comparing itself to different everyday events, like driving a car, being a passenger in a plane, popping popcorn in the microwave, or in Maryanne's analogy, riding a roller coaster. It gets a bit excessive as there is a new one seemingly every single episode, but the important one to note is Maryanne's.
It's like you dream about this, you know? You dream about like going on Survivor, and then you're like, and then it's like you're here, and then it's like you know, like you're here, and like you're there, and like I'm here, and like you're just like I just want to like jump up, run, scream. It's so hard to keep it in.
Jeff then says Survivor is like the monster in a horror movie. I told you the show loves comparing itself, and apparently the monster is hungry, whatever that means. The three tribes then have a reward challenge for a machete, pot, and flint, and despite getting an incredible lead, Mariah blows it for the tribe. But don't fret just yet. The two losing tribes are given a second chance when they get to solve a triangle puzzle where they have to count how many triangles are in this shape. If they guess correctly, they get their pot, flint, and machete. Jonathan tries to help where he counts 11 triangles, and Omer's like, yeah, I've counted over 30. And Jonathan's like, well, I'm out of my league, so I'm just gonna go work on the shelter instead. So Maryanne, Omer, and Lindsay attempt to solve it, and
It's so funny how low your standards go so quickly. I'm like, oh my gosh, we got bare necessities. This is the best day of my life.
they were successful, but then a boat shows up and someone from each tribe is forced to go to an island, and Maryanne says, I know I shouldn't go because it puts a target on my back because people will assume I have an advantage, but I really want to go, so that's what I'm gonna do. It's a risky move that will heavily depend on how she handles it when she gets back to camp. Upon arriving on Summit Island, her, Drea, and Jenny all have to hike to the top, and while going up, we get Maryanne's backstory and a lot of insight into who she is.
But the reason why I think I'm here is because I've always struggled with like self-esteem issues because I was a pretty weird kid growing up, and like Survivor is a way where not only I can go and test my own limits, but I can show to people as well. It's like, hey, like look at you, you're someone who's weird, who didn't have to change themselves to succeed. And like, maybe there's someone who's watching this that needs that. And I want to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm weird. You can be weird too, and you can win. When I told my mom I was first interested in Survivor, she was like, Maryanne, why are you interested in this show?
When they hike to the top, everyone is forced to make a decision without talking to the others. So basically their choice is to risk their vote or protect their vote. As long as one person protects their vote, then everyone who risks it gets an extra vote. But if everyone risks their vote, then no one has a vote. In fact, they all lose their vote. So Drea and Maryanne risk it and Jenny doesn't. So those two get an extra vote. Back at camp, we get no follow-up on what people think about Maryanne being gone and whether her target has increased or not, because surprise, Jeff pops onto the beach and says, hello there, fellow kids. I know I'm not supposed to be here, but one of you lied to production until the day before the game started about medication, and we fear your life is in danger. This person is Jackson, and Maryanne bawls as he leaves. Having lost a player before the first tribal is not great, as they are already in a numbers deficit due to no fault of their own. And at the immunity challenge, it all comes down to the puzzle at the end that Maryanne and Omar are working on together, and
Jeff, do we have it?
Talk. We got it. Has it. Talk wins immunity.
And that's it for the premiere of Survivor 42, and unlike 41, despite it being copied and pasted in format, we're getting a much more balanced and visible view of everyone in this season. What we have learned from Maryanne is that she is clearly an emotive person who wears their heart on their sleeve, is Christian, and is kind of a confessional queen. However, her overabundance of energy could wear on others as they lack food and sleep. So, how can she balance this and pull it off? Let's find out. Episode 2 begins with Maryanne working around the camp, but doing it in such a way that Jonathan, aka a real-life Thor, is a bit scared of her.
Ayo, 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 ayo. Oh! What's it? Here's Maryanne! Hi, I'm Maryanne from Survivor, and you're watching CBS. Do.
Oh my God.
As I've said previously, Maryanne is a ball of energy. I can't say it enough because she just is all of the time. And while this might be endearing to us as an audience, apparently her tribe is already getting a little worn down by this. As Mariah says, Maryanne going 100 miles per hour all the time except for when she's sleeping is a bit draining, and even Lindsay agrees. But then Omar has an open discussion with his tribe about his Muslim faith and how he will be randomly praying throughout the day, and this does not mean he's looking for idols. Maryanne is kind enough to offer and actually make Omar a prayer mat from palm fronds. Now, despite Maryanne getting on Mariah and Lindsay's nerves, Jonathan says, I actually love Maryanne's spunk, and it actually sounds like Mariah might be next to go. We go to the immunity challenge, and as it turns out, Zach from the Blue Ica tribe was voted out last episode. Now you might be asking, who cares? What does this mean for this story? And it's kind of a big whatever when looking at Maryanne's game, but then she says something that makes me recall a certain Billy and Candace situation from Cook Islands.
Zach voted out.
Your crush.
I told my tribe, and I guess I'll tell all of you, Zach is like every type of white guy that I have a crush on, so there goes that.
Really?
Yeah.
So a blossoming love affair is over?
No, not on Survivor, though. If we met, like on a tribe swap, connected after, and then after this is over, I have an 100% rejection rate with all the guys I've liked, so I was like, you know.
How Maryanne became Billy and Zach became Candace, I have no idea. So anyways, despite it being known that Jonathan is bad at puzzles, the tribe puts him in charge of leading them. So of course, they lose immunity. Back at camp, the discussion is basically centered on Maryanne or Mariah to be voted out next. Essentially what the conversation boils down to is people being like, well, Mariah's probably bad for us in the short term, whereas we feel like we can't trust Maryanne in the long term. She might burn us. Now, it isn't 100% clear what they mean by this, as we still have no idea if anyone knows about her extra vote or really why they think she will burn them. Either way, Maryanne's social standing on Taku is not great. Maryanne then begins to panic and goes looking for an idol, which leads to...
I was looking around for those flowers that you found, but I couldn't see them.
Okay, clearly she's looking for an idol. She cannot control herself. I feel like Maryanne does get flustered under pressure. Like, one of the things that I look for in an alliance is they don't panic and like burn to the ground and take me down with them.
Paranoia can work for certain players, but Maryanne is no Tony Vlachos. At Tribal Council, it is immediately clear that Jeff likes Maryanne because whenever she's talking to him, he is smiling ear to ear. She explains how the shot in the dark makes them all reevaluate how they will approach each vote this season. With that in mind, let me briefly explain what the shot in the dark is. Essentially, every player can do this once in the entire game. You get to sacrifice your vote, meaning you cannot vote, for a 1 in 6 shot at immunity. You pull a little scroll out of a bag, and one of those 6 scrolls has immunity on it. Now, when we saw this in Survivor 41, it never worked. And in fact, Zach in the last episode just tried it and it didn't work for him. So the odds seem to be coming in favor of it actually working eventually. So before voting commences, Maryanne pleads to just not vote her out.
Don't send me to Zach, I'm not ready, please. It's like being 23 and like always single, it's like maybe there's something wrong with you because no one romantically likes you know? The thing is, like, Zachary literally picture perfect, and I'm like, hey God, is that you? Like, wow, is this like a 2-for-1? You win Survivor and then you also get a man, and then it's like in the reunion, Jeff's like, yeah, Maryanne, so you started to date Zach, how'd that work out? And I'm like, wow, Jeff, thank you for putting me on season 42, it's a whole big sign. But like, you know.
No, I was just getting comfortable.
Oh, you want me? I can go more. I love soliloquies.
But here we go. Will Maryanne be sent to the love of her life? Everyone goes to vote, and Mariah plays her shot in the dark, and
You are not safe. First vote, Mariah. Mariah, 2 votes, Mariah. Third person voted out of Survivor 42. Mariah, that's 3, that's enough. Mariah, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
that was a close one. Episode 3 sees Maryanne openly revealing to her tribe that she has an extra vote. On one hand, she should have kept this a secret as it puts more eyes on her. On the other hand, she is doing this in such a way to show a loyalty to Taku. It's a bit risky. And not, but 20 seconds later in this episode, she is back looking for the idol again, where she reveals that she is a super fan of this show who has watched every episode except the last 6 of Tokenshien's. Ironically, 5 of those episodes are the highlight of Coach's career, where he goes full Dragon Slayer for the first time. It's quite a shame. Anyways, right off the walking path on the ground under a rock.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Beware advantage. If you take it, it's yours, and you must do what it says. Congratulations. You have found a 3-way shared immunity idol. At the next immunity challenge, you must say a secret phrase in front of the other players. Oh my God. Your phrase. It's another classic case of the bunny rabbit having dinner in the mailbox.
What does that even mean?
Once all 3 phrases have been said at the same immunity challenge, then all 3 idols have power. But until then, you cannot vote at any tribal council.
It's always off the walking path, in case you're wondering. So basically, she needs the 2 other tribes to find their beware advantage and say the phrase at the immunity challenge, or she is without a vote until the merge. A dangerous situation to be in. So at the immunity challenge, she makes her attempt, and
You know, going to tribal sucks, and it kind of reminds me of the classic tale of the bunny rabbit eating its dinner in the mailbox. You know that one?
I don't. Tell me.
Okay. So like you see like your mailbox and you open and there's like a bunny rabbit and you're like, what's this bunny rabbit doing here, you know? It's like you don't know the whole story unless you're the bunny.
I was waiting for the other tribe to say something. I heard nothing, so I didn't say anything.
Thank you.
Because if I can go into the merge with this secret of mine and never have to say the line, I have the idol and nobody knows I have it.
thankfully for Maryanne, Jonathan beasts this immunity challenge and basically single-handedly keeps them safe from tribal. Episode 4 has Taku completely crushing the reward challenge, and with these back-to-back blowout wins, all eyes are on Taku, as even Jeff says out loud how amazing this tribe is, especially Jonathan. Jonathan is so overjoyed that he says, "We are a tight foursome, and winning is only bonding us closer together." He says this in front of everybody. Back at camp, everyone is a tad bit upset with him for saying this truthful statement in front of everyone because it gives them all less room to maneuver come the merge. But then at the immunity challenge, Maryanne gives it the old college try to activate her idol again, and
The rain keeps on going down and going down. And it's like, I know I've said it so many times, but it just explains it so perfectly. It's the classic tale of the bunny rabbit eating the dinner in the mailbox, you know? And we're the bunny rabbits all being like, where's the mailbox? Like, we need to go in, we need to be warm, we need to be warm. I masterfully say my phrase and I hear nothing. Are you kidding me?
well, Maryanne's still in the same boat as before. The blue tribe hasn't found it yet, and Mike is staying silent. But then this immunity challenge all comes down to the puzzle at the end. And once again, Maryanne and Omar are working on this together, and as it turns out,
Got it. Taku has it! Taku wins immunity!
They crushed it. That is 3 now for Maryanne. Episode 5 is everyone sitting around camp talking about Mario Kart, believe it or not, and Jonathan's face just kind of says it all.
I know. Oh, you have not met me,
Playing Mario Kart before you were born.
You see, I'm arrogant and I know that I'm the best, so I play as my me.
Oh, you're me?
Yeah.
I love this one.
How much these girls talk drives me crazy. I don't know why they always feel like there can't be silence, but there isn't 5 seconds without one of them.
So I whip out my phone and call in sick at work and walk out.
Oh my God.
That is the Taku News at 7 a.m. Thank you guys and make sure you tune in.
I don't even know what they're talking about.
Never have I ever used hero, villain, smart and dumb over the course of 1 moment for any player. Maryanne is just that unique, and I think Jonathan's kind of over her spunk that he said he liked earlier. This is exasperated in a later moment when Jonathan is working and Maryanne walks right into his chopping space and he doesn't notice her and he just chops the bamboo anyways. They both get into an argument and really they're both in the wrong.
My foot was under it. Then you hit it down.
You know I'm doing this. Why did
I
you walk
was
over here?
walking, and then you hit me.
Back up. Every time something little happens at camp, Maryanne makes it into a 10 out of 10. If I'm swinging a hatchet and then you put your toe underneath it.
Workspace. You came into my workspace.
You're walking back and forth.
Because it's all my workspace.
Okay,
Look,
I can't argue with Maryanne. I love you. I don't want to hear
Okay.
it. Okay. Is it just me or is Maryanne getting worse?
Yeah.
This type of stupid fight that's rifting people apart is exactly what I don't want.
Just Shane's too good of a freaking shield.
Maryanne is annoying, but she has a potential immunity idol, and she has an extra vote. Like, we need her.
Things aren't going so well for Maryanne this episode, but nonetheless, maybe 3rd time is the charm, as at the immunity challenge, she once again goes for broke to see if her Beware advantage will become something more than just a piece of paper in her pocket. And
It's the classic case of the bunny rabbit having dinner at the mailbox.
This potato has skin. We have skin. Are we just all potatoes?
Oh my God.
We're tripping.
I've always loved food, man, but like now I think I gotta marry it.
And we're back to love. The theme for Maryanne.
There is such grace in the game of soccer that it makes me cry.
Finally, yes! I've been waiting so long to just hear something back.
holy crap, it finally worked. Thank the Lord she didn't need to go to tribal while not having her vote, but I would be surprised if everyone wasn't a little bit suspicious of her after saying this phrase 3 times. But with the actual immunity challenge, Taku falls behind thanks to Omer, and at the end, Jonathan single-handedly saves them. We move on to the merge episode, which is technically considered episodes 6 and 7, and right away Jeff talks to the camera and says, "Oh boy, I know that last season we did this hourglass twist, and it was a bit unbalanced, so we made some tweaks to fix it. The big one is that we're adding sponsored food, and I gotta say, I don't think Jeff quite understands why this twist was broken in 41, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't sweat it, it will be explained here soon." So as everyone comes in, Jeff says, "Everyone drop your buffs. We are splitting you up into 2 groups. The winning group earns immunity and officially makes the merge. The losing group is vulnerable to be voted out." Jeff then unveils the reward that goes along with this, and Maryanne channels her inner charisma.
It's good. It's big. It's Applebee's.
I love Applebee's.
Oh my God, no!
Crunchy onion rings with honey barbecue sauce.
Since Maryanne is in the group with Jonathan, they of course beast their way through the physical part with almost no issue, and when it all comes down to the puzzle at the end that Maryanne is working on with Lydia,
Maryanne for the win, and they've got it! Biggest reward!
so Maryanne basically now has immunity and gets a merge buff. However, the twist, the one that I said was controversial, is that Roxroy, who did not get picked for any group, gets sent to Exile Island where he will make an important choice, but that is still for later. For now, the team that won gets to enjoy the Applebee's merge feast, and Tori from the Blue Ica tribe dumps everything she knows about her tribe to them all in an attempt to getting good and look trustworthy, which is actually a bad look for Tori, but it's great free info for Maryanne. We then see Romeo, Tori, Lydia, and Mike all talk to Maryanne individually and essentially express interest in working with her. Maryanne says this is awesome. So we now go to the immunity challenge for those who didn't win the previous one because Maryanne's obviously safe. But Jeff says, hey everyone, we gave Roxroy a choice while he was on Exile Island. Basically, Roxroy had the choice of giving himself immunity and changing who else got immunity, meaning the team that lost earlier actually gets immunity and the team that won loses it, or Roxroy could deny himself immunity and everything stays the same. So what do you think was chosen?
Sometimes everyone deserves a do-over. I went back and I changed history.
So despite earning immunity and the merge buff earlier, it all gets stripped away by an unbalanced twist that favors one result. Fun. Now she ends up losing the individual challenge and is now vulnerable to go in a small group of 5. Back at camp, Lindsay says she wants Maryanne out, which is so quick for this taco group to be turning on each other. But then Omer then comes to her rescue and says, actually, I think it's a bit too soon. Why don't we vote out Lydia instead?
My biggest pitch is Maryanne, that she has a lot of hidden ammo.
Thing is, now I feel it's between Lydia and Maryanne.
Positive.
I'm trying to bring Taku back together because at this point, Maryanne has an extra vote and a hidden immunity idol. And I don't want either one of those things going out of the game because I'm gonna need weapons, I'm gonna need arsenal, and I'm gonna need an army.
You were the primary at first, but I'm trying to shift it to Lydia.
Why me? Like, I don't want to go out for the merge. I've worked so hard to be here, and I'm so terrified. All I want to do is cry and scream, but like, I know that in this game, I have to go and I have to center myself and I have to stay calm.
Omer does his absolute best to change the vote, and it is not at all guaranteed to work. So at Tribal Council, everyone goes to cast their votes, and Maryanne is in hot water.
First vote, Jonathan. Lindsay, 1 vote Jonathan, 1 vote Lindsay. Jonathan, 2 votes Jonathan. Maryanne, 2 votes Jonathan, 1 vote Lindsay, 1 vote Maryanne. Maryanne, we're tied. Lydia. Lydia, that's 3 votes Lydia. Lydia, 7th person, voted out of Survivor 42. Lydia, that's 5, that's enough. Lydia, the tribe has spoken. Time to go.
That was a dangerous situation that Lydia was screwed over by, but anyways, we slide into episode 8, where Maryanne says she is 100% at the bottom now, and this has her reflecting on her own insecurities.
The people in the Taku tribe are telling me, don't worry, I have your back, but I know that I'm basically at the bottom of the tribe, which honestly sucks so much. All you can think of is like, I suck, there's something wrong with me, and that's why people don't want to work with me.
Maryanne being weird is exactly what makes her, for better or for worse. She may not be everyone's cup of tea, but that's who she is. At the reward challenge, everyone is split up into 2 groups again. Oh no. And Maryanne draws the gray rock. Drea hears the reward food is peanut butter and jelly and says, nah, I'm good, and lets Maryanne take her spot. This is important because due to sitting out, Drea gets the knowledge is power advantage, which allows her to steal an idol. Maryanne's team ends up losing reward, and at the immunity challenge later on, Jeff forces a negotiation for a bag of rice, and he says, basically, you all need to sit out 4 people to get this bag of rice. However, only 3 volunteer, including Maryanne, and she gives an impassioned speech to get a 4th person to join.
We all need food, and it's like, I know that there's some people here who know that they're in a better position than me. So like, it would mean so much if you know that you're in that better position to go and like sacrifice.
I'll do it.
People say you can't play this game with emotion, but look at me using emotions as a weapon.
It ends up working. Omer joins them, and back at camp, they all get to enjoy some rice for once. And thankfully for Maryanne, Chanel has become the target due to making Mike mad at a previous tribal council, and at this tribal council, Chanel is eliminated in a 7-3-1 vote.
Chanel, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Episode 9 sees everyone's being split up again for the 3rd time in a row into 2 groups, as Jeff says, surprise, though it really shouldn't be at this point. We are having 2 separate tribal councils. Maryanne is grouped with Drea, Tori, Jonathan, and Lindsay, with Jonathan winning immunity in their group. So now only 4 people in their group are eligible to be voted for. But Maryanne has an idol, and so does Drea. Jonathan talks to Maryanne and says, let's vote out Drea. We know she has an idol, and that's kind of threatening at this point in the game. Let's just get rid of her. This is a smart move, as believe it or not, Drea actually has 4 advantages, though Jonathan isn't aware of all of them, that she is currently sitting on. Talk about being gifted the win this season if used correctly. Maryanne likes the plan until she hears that Jonathan is telling Drea to vote for Maryanne as well to make it appear that all the targets are going to be those with idols.
Jonathan is like, look, we need to get Drea. Drea has an idol. She needs to go. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then he says, we're going to have Drea vote for you. And I am like, what the heck? Jonathan treats me like a young little girl, the child that needs to be led. And that's so annoying because I'm not here to be a sheep.
Maryanne then talks to Tori and it seems fairly straightforward. Barring an idol play by Drea, she's gonna be gone in a 4-1 vote. Upon arriving at Tribal Council, everything goes off the rails as they see the other group that went to Tribal before them. They voted out Roxroy, which, by the way, the story has been basically foreshadowing since episode 1. Roxroy has been a long time coming. Drea says seeing this changes everything. Now, you may be wondering, what does she mean by that? Well, seeing back-to-back black people be voted out has her on edge, and she says, I am playing my idol tonight to avoid what she perceives as something that occurs every single season. Maryanne is on the same page as Drea and says, I morally cannot vote her out.
Look, Chanel goes out, okay, that's fine, that's one thing. Roxroy goes out, that's another person. I write Drea's name out, that's 3 black people in a row, okay? And Survivor isn't just about strategy, it's not. So
It's like the same thing over and over
again and again and again. I can't do it.
I knew it was coming for me. So let's play.
Lindsay is very supportive of them, but Jonathan is confused because to him, it seems like they're saying that targeting Drea or Maryanne tonight would be racist after Drea just helped vote out Chanel in the last episode, and the storytelling supports what he is saying, as nothing at all has supported this Chanel or Roxroy vote out as having anything to do with race. This was a bad move by him though, as it is then explained that this is not explicitly racist, but the decision to vote out 3 black players in a row would be subconscious bias that Maryanne says is not easily seen. Now, if this seems like whiplash to you after how the story has played out so far, that's because it is. Nothing like this has been brought up prior in this season, and it disappears from the storytelling in the very next episode. Maryanne and Drea both basically say we are playing our idols to prove that we are safe, not because of this topic being brought up, but because we earned it.
My biggest fear was that I would see some sort of injustice and I would sit down and do nothing as a black woman. And especially coming on like Survivor, where it's like, you know, millions of people will be watching, it feels like I have to do it because who else will? It's like so frustrating how I have to then incorporate that to the way that I play the game.
Good job, guys.
Good job, girl.
I can settle this quickly. These are both hidden immunity idols. Drea's not going home. Maryanne is not going home.
So now Tori and Lindsay are the only ones eligible, and in a weird set of circumstances that has not happened since the infamous Jeff Varner vote in season 34. The vote is done verbally in front of everybody. Everyone says out loud, yeah, we're voting you out, Tori. So Tori says, I guess I'll go play my shot in the dark then. And as it turns out,
Tori, you are not safe. Tori, the tribe has spoken.
by the way, the shot in the dark has been used 4 times across 2 seasons, and it has yet to work once. With that, we move on to episode 10, where Maryanne is a little annoyed she had to use her idol when she was in no danger of going home, but no worries, as she smartly takes a stroll on the walking path. And what is that at just eye height?
And I see this tree like right at the corner, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Congratulations, you found an immunity. It's a freaking immunity idol. I'm not telling anyone about this. This one is going to be my secret and my secret alone. I just found my second immunity idol, baby. I'm literally shooketh.
This time, she is actually going to keep it a secret though, which is a good call. After the immunity challenge, the consensus vote seems to be high, as Maryanne and Lindsay agree that since he isn't early in their plans for the end of the game, he needs to go. At Tribal Council, Maryanne explains this game is a lot like Jenga.
The way that I see it, it's kind of like Survivor Jenga, right? Where it's like, okay, I need to take a piece out, but that piece is going to come back into play. But what happens if I take a bottom piece too early? Will everything fall? Do I have to then take that piece later? Or do I want to take that piece because I think someone else wants that piece, so I stop them from having that piece so I can have that piece?
Jonathan, did you track that?
Yes.
So after that funny display of emotion by Maryanne, everyone goes to vote and Hai is gone in a 6-2 landslide, and he takes this with such a positive attitude.
Hi, the tribe has spoken.
Bye, guys.
Episode 11 begins with Maryanne losing a toenail and says, "This is pretty common. This happens a few times a year." People are like, "Maryanne, that's not normal." But truly, Maryanne has already said she is weird, so this just kind of fits her perfectly. She then acknowledges that she is currently not a big threat in the game, which is good for now. But if she doesn't turn it around, then she will lose at the end of the game.
Clearly, right now, I'm not as big of a threat as people think they am, which is a blessing because that means I'm probably safe for the next tribal, but a curse because if people don't think you're a threat, how are you going to win at the end? But I've been really taking a step back because if you're someone who's a big threat, you're the next one out.
Maryanne's awareness here is spot on, but the question is, what will she do to turn around this perception of her? We see some perceptions of other players like Romeo being lazy and just eating rice all day, and we see Jonathan annoying most of the women with how he talks to them. In fact, the women say, "Hey, if Jonathan doesn't win immunity, he is next to go." So at the immunity challenge, Jeff says we are doing something contradictory to the social game of Survivor by forcing whoever drops first out of this challenge to play a game of chance. If you lose, you play the do or die game. Maryanne wisely doesn't participate in the immunity challenge so that she doesn't have a chance to get screwed by this. And with that, Jonathan wins immunity and Lindsay is forced to play do or die. Everyone then considers, what do we do if Lindsay survives and we have to vote someone out? Drea is still sitting on 3 advantages, and Maryanne says if Drea is at the end, she is winning, so I think she needs to go next. At Tribal Council, Lindsay plays do or die, and
In one of these boxes is a flame. Flame represents life. 2 of these boxes have a skull. Skull represents death. Okay, middle box. Before we open your box, I'm gonna open one of these 2 boxes. The skull. The last twist is you can swap them if you want.
So I'm gonna go with my gut.
You're gonna stay with what you chose.
Yeah.
You drew the flame, you are safe.
Well. Drea sees the writing on the wall and uses her knowledge as power advantage to try and steal Mike's idol, which is the only idol in the game that everyone is aware of. And
Mike, do you have an idol?
No.
why did this fail? Well, we get a flashback to Mike being told by Omer that this is going to happen. So Mike gets rid of his idol temporarily so that Drea can't steal it from him. Basically, Omer and Mike outsmarted Drea. Drea then burns advantage number 3 as she uses her extra vote and is still eliminated 5-3, where Drea then tries to do the high thing where, I'm in such a great move, but actually is making game moves after being voted out, namely against Omer.
Omer, you're the only person I told this secret to, and I want everyone else to know that. The tribe has spoken.
Is it fair that she got to do this after being voted out? I'll let you be the judge. Though Jeff lets it happen, so I guess it must be fair. Episode 12 sees Mike telling Maryanne that Omer is gunning for him, so Mike wants Omer gone next. Maryanne realizes that actually eliminating Omer could be the game-changing move she needs on her resume, as he has been dictating a lot of what has happened in the post-merge game.
Mike is right. At Tribal Council, what the jury saw was Omer just go from a caterpillar to a butterfly. This was someone who was sitting in the background and like, boom, he's the reason why Drea was gone. And I'm like, there's no way that I can beat him. So I'm thinking, being like, okay, there always comes a time in this game when you have people that you trust, but the people that you trust, if you know they can beat you, you have to do something. This is honestly a hard decision because I know Omer and I love Omer and I trust Omer, and Omer's one of the people who's grounded me these past 22 days. But if I don't make this move, I'm not going to win. And it's terrifying.
At the reward challenge, everyone has to spin and spin, which causes Maryanne to laugh and be clumsy and just straight up fall. But she's having such a good time, which is typical. She does get too dizzy and tries to reverse the effect.
He's coming back. Here comes Romeo. Maryanne is now trying to unspin to reverse her dizziness. Never seen anything like it.
Omer ends up winning reward and he takes Maryanne, Romeo, and Mike with him. After they gorge themselves on some chocolate cake, Mike talks to Maryanne and says, if you help me vote out Omer, then I promise I will play my idol for you at the final 5, which is the last time both of their idols are good for.
You're going to 4. I guarantee you that. Because I have one idol, and if I hear your name at 5, it's playing for you.
Double protection at final 5, what's not to like? Mike then reveals to Maryanne that Lindsay has an idol that only works through the final 6, meaning it has to be played at this next tribal, otherwise it's no good. And really, both players are surprised by this news. Mike is surprised that Maryanne didn't already know about this, and Maryanne is surprised that Lindsay kept this a secret from her because they're kind of aligned. Yes, Maryanne is keeping a secret too, but she's keeping it from everyone, whereas Lindsay is keeping this from some people. This forces a reevaluation of their alliance. Lindsay then talks to Maryanne and says, I want Jonathan out, and Maryanne enthusiastically says, yeah, of course, but really she's not agreeing at all. Maryanne says if she needs to, she will use her extra vote to get out Omar tonight. Lindsay wins immunity, and the fear is that she will now give her idol to Omar because she doesn't need it, she has the necklace. Maryanne then talks to Mike about splitting votes in case this does happen, and Mike and Jonathan are both too scared to go for Omar, and they say let's just do something easier like Romeo.
You're going to tell Jonathan, vote Omar.
How about we just say we're not gonna get Omar out tonight? Please, trust me on this one, please. Lindsay wins the immunity challenge. She doesn't need her immunity idol. I'm thinking Lindsay gives Omar her immunity idol, except Maryanne wants to play Survivor 18.0 instead of 2.0.
Mike is just trying to play it safe because people can feel the final 5. And when people can feel it and they don't have that necklace on their neck, they get paranoid. But I have my extra vote, and my 2 votes give me a lot of power tonight.
Maryanne realizes if they won't help her, then she will need to figure this out herself. Now, she knows Lindsay and Omar are going to vote for whoever they're voting for. Mike and Jonathan are voting for Romeo. So, with that 2-2 split, she needs Romeo to vote with her, along with her extra vote, to make a Suri-like move here at the final 6. She godfathers Romeo by forcing him into secrecy.
Nothing from this conversation can leak.
I
Nothing.
swear.
Maryanne tells Mike and Jonathan, go ahead and vote for Romeo in case Omar does play his idol, and then we can just get Romeo on the revote as a backup. This is truly Maryanne attempting to control the game. At Tribal Council, Lindsay doesn't play her idol, and she doesn't give it to Omar out of complete confidence that things will go their way. So, Jeff reveals the votes, and...
Jonathan. Romeo. Jonathan. Romeo. Omar. You did it. I did. 13th person voted out and the 6th member of our jury. Omar. Wow. Omar, the tribe has spoken.
Good job.
Finale time. It is Maryanne versus Mike versus Romeo versus Jonathan versus Lindsay. Who will survive the last 2 tribal councils to get to the end and have a shot at convincing the jury to give them the $1 million and the title of sole survivor? Let's find out. Keep in mind, Mike and Maryanne both have idols that are only good through the next vote, so on paper they should be safe, but then again, on paper Lindsay should have played her idol for Omar at the last tribal, so nothing's guaranteed. Maryanne says it is now time to seal the deal and become the winner of Survivor 42. Right away, all of them are dropped on a new beach with no shelter and no food, but Maryanne doesn't mind. After building their campfire, Romeo says, by the way, I am safe for the next vote because I have an idol I've been keeping secret from all of you. And you may be asking yourself, when did he find this idol? Well, the answer to that is he didn't. He made a fake one, and judging by the reactions, no one cares. Romeo at this point is a goat to be dragged to the final 3, and everyone pretty much knows this. Maryanne then talks to Lindsay and says, I want you in the final 3 with me, which by the way is a mistake. At this point, the 2 easiest people to beat would be Romeo and Jonathan. Everyone is then given a chance for the last advantage of this season. You have to unscramble a phrase, and that phrase will lead you to this advantage somewhere on the island. Lindsay solves this phrase right away and rushes off, and Maryanne knows she could solve it, but all the guys are like, hey, let's work together so we can stop Lindsay, and Maryanne doesn't want to stop Lindsay, so she's like, I guess I'm gonna sandbag this thing to help Lindsay, which ends up working. They don't actually solve the phrase, and Lindsay does find the advantage. And with that, she actually gets a boost at the next immunity challenge. She has to do less things than everyone else. Despite this, at the immunity challenge, Mike pulls out the victory in a close race between him and Lindsay to solve the puzzle. It's literally 1 piece off, but now he has no need for his hidden immunity idol. Mike then talks to Maryanne and says, can we really beat Lindsay? Maryanne says, I think I could squeak out a win over her, but Lindsay has made friends with most of the jury while also winning immunity challenges. She really hasn't gotten under anyone's skin. It is admitted that Jonathan would be easier to beat than her. At Tribal Council, Maryanne tells Jeff how she struggles with picking people based on how she feels versus what she knows is factually the best move for her. AKA, this is the struggle she is currently having on whether to vote out Lindsay or not. She could very well play her idol for Lindsay, she says, and make a move on her resume, be like, hey, I saved Lindsay, look at what I did. But this would be dangerous, because can she beat Lindsay in the final 3? Maryanne's not 100% sure. Mike plays his idol for Maryanne, believe it or not, and in a baller move, Maryanne decides to not play her idol for Lindsay, keeping it a secret still. Romeo reveals to everyone his idol is fake, and the jury is shown not caring at all. Then, in a 4-1 vote, Lindsay is eliminated.
The tribe has spoken.
We then cut from that tribal council to the final immunity challenge, where Jeff prompts every single person to give a sob story. Now, that's not to undercut what Maryanne's about to say, it's just that all 4 people have a sob story. Maryanne says her hopes are that her being on Survivor will bring her family back together because for over a year now, they haven't all been together in the same place, and she says if that were to happen, that would be more valuable to her than $1 million.
I want it more than $1 million. It's okay to feel sad, but the thing is, sadness doesn't take you anywhere. It's what you do with that. What am I gonna do with my sadness? I'm gonna turn it into passion and drive so that I push myself and I do the best that I can and I win this competition.
In a surprising turn of events, Mike drops out of the challenge first on a mistake, and Romeo, of all people, actually wins immunity. It's quite unexpected. Back at camp, Mike and Romeo talk about how bad it would be if Maryanne and Mike were both in the final 3, as Romeo would really have no chance at winning. Romeo says, I agree with this, but it is pretty clear he's still gonna force Mike and Jonathan to make fire anyways, since he gets to make that decision. So whoever wins this fire at the final 4 is going to make it to the final 3, whereas Romeo is going to bring Maryanne with him for free. Maryanne wants Jonathan to win, as then her path to winning would be that much easier. So she's like, Jonathan, here's every tip and trick I know on how to win this fire making competition. Please pull this out. At Tribal Council, Romeo picks Maryanne as expected to go to final 3, which is great for her, and it's bad for Romeo. But then, in a fire making showdown where Maryanne wants Jonathan to win,
Here it is! Yes! It's over! Yes! Mike will have the final seat at the final Tribal Council of Survivor 42.
Oh my God.
Great matchup.
not the greatest result, but Maryanne will just have to make do. Maryanne says at Final Tribal Council, her best move will to simply be honest about her game and own what she did and did not do. Don't hide and don't deny.
To be successful tonight, I need to go and be honest about my game. I have to raise my hands and scream and be like, this is what I did in these past 26 days. I want to show that I can still be myself and I can still be weird, but in the end, I can succeed.
It is time, Final Tribal Council. It is Maryanne versus Mike versus Romeo. Who will win the jury over and earn the crown of sole survivor? Let's find out. Right away, we see Hai is wearing a shirt that says feminist on it. He wore this to a tribal knowing who the final three were, so I'm calling this a lock for Maryanne. That is 3 locked votes, so she only needs 1 or 2 more depending on how people vote for Mike and Romeo, which is great for Maryanne as she has a leg up. The discussions begin starting with social gameplay, where it is explained that it seems like Maryanne did not take the game seriously. Maryanne says this is true, but that was all strategy.
If you were young, like under 25, and you seemed like you were strategic, you would be voted out. Corey, you were under 25, you showed that you were strategic, and you were on the bottom for the whole time. So I basically had to pretend that I had no strategy, and then when there were fewer people, I'd be able to start to show my strategy further and further in the game.
On the plus side for Maryanne is how Mike her only real competition at this point, completely misreads the room on how to talk to the jury, and it's a bit argumentative. It seems like how they perceived his game and how he perceived his game were not the same, and he's not quite understanding why they think the way they do. We then hear from Maryanne that she made adjustments throughout the game to better herself, like be less annoying after the merge, and move to pull in Romeo to knock out Omer. We then move to the physical discussion of Final Tribal, where Romeo says, "My physical prowess in this game was learning how to swim and getting an immunity win," which is a stark contrast if you think about it to Mike being a selfless worker bee for the tribe, and Maryanne also doing things around camp for others.
So one of the things which I did was weave palm fronds. So when we were all still gung-ho about weaving palm fronds, I showed most of my tribe, hey, this is how we weave it. Another thing which I knew how to do is I was very, very good at scaling and gutting fish. So even though I can't catch a fish, I can go and be like, thank you for bringing this fish. I'm going to prepare it so you don't have to do that work.
The strategy portion of Final Tribal is last, and with that comes some big moves here by Maryanne. First is how once again no one cares about Romeo's fake idol, but when Maryanne explains how she didn't even play her idol that she had, she guaranteed herself final 3 still.
When I voted out Omer, Mike gave me his word that he will give me his idol at the final 5, and that would guarantee me the final 4. So like, how were you so sure? And the reason is I kept the only secret in this game. I actually, after your vote, Tori, had the merge idol. I can show it to you right now. And I told no one about it. By taking you out, Omer, I gave myself the best position to be sitting here.
That reaction kind of says it all. Mike nor Romeo have garnered anything like that in this Final Tribal. Maryanne then puts a cap on her story this season when she talks about how growing up she feared rejection, and this game taught her that while she still has room to grow, she needs to overcome this fear.
I really wanted to bring Lindsay to the end when in my mind I'm like, I cannot beat Lindsay. When I was young, I used to push people away so they couldn't go and hurt me first. And it's like to know that I do it in something that I love too, it's like, it shows that I still need to grow as a person and I'm still growing. But I'm like, Maryanne, you need to grow and you need to make yourself open. Like I knew that I still had to take that chance to lose because I deserved that chance to win.
Everyone goes to vote for the winner, and Jeff says, surprise, we aren't doing a live reunion and vote reveal like we did for seasons 2 through 40. In this new era of Survivor, we do it on the island like in season 1. So he reads the votes for the winner, and...
First vote, Mike. Maryanne. 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 3 votes, Maryanne. Maryanne. The winner of Survivor 42.
So let's break this down. How is Maryanne as a character? Maryanne wore her heart on her sleeve while also being someone who was never dull. Seriously, there is never a time all season where you see Maryanne being, oh, I'm so tired, or oh, I'm so hungry. In fact, I don't know if Maryanne knows what tiredness is. I'm sure she experienced these feelings, but the story we saw shows that she is going 100 miles per hour all the time, which reminds me of Tony Vlachos actually. Now this did work to her detriment in the beginning, but once she kind of got it under wraps, when she was able to do what she needed to do to still be herself but also keep it under control, she became more universally likable, seemed like. I can safely say Maryanne is the first of her kind in 42 seasons, as no one comes before her that I can compare in personality, and she was joyous to watch all the time, and she tried to keep it real, and it makes her very relatable for a lot of viewers. Out of 26 character moments shown on the show, 21 were heroic and 5 were villainous, making Maryanne a hero character on Survivor 42. Now, how is Maryanne as a strategist? She didn't start off so good. Had Taku gone to tribal council after the Mariah vote, Maryanne was likely gone, especially when she was unable to vote. But thankfully, like all winners before her, she had luck on her side as she reached the merge and realized that her game that she had been playing so far wasn't as good as she thought it was. She was saved by Omer at the merge, but then after that, Maryanne kind of came into her own as she made bigger and bigger moves until final tribal council, where she convinced the jury to not vote for the obvious winner in Mike and instead pick her. Believe it or not, Maryanne is actually the first Black female winner since season 4 in Vesepia, and for that, that's a huge accomplishment. Out of 53 strategic moments shown on the show, 37 were smart and 16 were dumb, making Maryanne a smart strategist on Survivor 42. Thank you for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. This verse I'm about to show you actually was handpicked by Maryanne, so thank you, Maryanne. See you all next time.